Chapter 1: The Orphan Boy. In the heart of 19th-century London, where the chimneys belched smoke and the cobblestone streets echoed with the hurried footsteps of the working class, there stood a grim and imposing structure known as the workhouse. It was here, amidst the bleakness of poverty and despair, that our story begins, with a young orphan boy named Oliver Twist. Oliver was a boy of perhaps 10 years, though his small frame and weary countenance made him appear older than his tender age. His eyes, wide and innocent, spoke of a soul untouched by the hardships of the world, yet they also held a glimmer of resilience, a spark of hope that refused to be extinguished. From a young age, Oliver had known nothing but the cold, grey walls of the workhouse, where he had been abandoned as a mere babe. Raised by indifferent caretakers and surrounded by other orphan souls, Oliver had learned to navigate the harsh realities of life with a quiet determination, though his longing for love and belonging burned brightly in his heart. Each day dawned much like the last in the workhouse, with meager rations of gruel and endless hours of toil. But despite the drudgery of his existence, Oliver refused to surrender to despair, finding solace in the simple pleasures of his imagination and the fleeting moments of kindness that occasionally graced his lonely existence. It was on one such dreary day that Oliver dared to utter the unthinkable words that would change the course of his life forever. As the workhouse matron spooned out the watery gruel into each orphan's bowl, Oliver found himself overcome by a gnawing hunger that no amount of meager food could quell. Summoning his courage, he timidly approached the matron and uttered a single word that would reverberate through the halls of the workhouse like a thunderclap: "Please, sir, I want some more." The reaction was immediate and fierce. The matron's face contorted with outrage, her eyes blazing with indignation at the audacity of the orphan boy who dared to defy the established order. In the blink of an eye, Oliver found himself castigated and condemned, labeled a troublemaker and a miscreant by those who had never bothered to know the true depths of his suffering. And so it was that Oliver Twist, with nothing more than a simple plea for sustenance, sealed his fate as an outcast and a pariah in the eyes of those who held power over his fate. From that moment on, Oliver would be marked as a troublemaker, a burden to be cast aside and forgotten by a society that had no use for the likes of him. But though the world may have turned its back on Oliver Twist, there remained a flicker of hope within his heart, a belief that somewhere, amidst the darkness and despair, there existed a glimmer of light waiting to guide him home. And so, with determination in his step and defiance in his heart, Oliver set forth on a journey that would take him far from the confines of the workhouse and into the unknown depths of the world beyond. Chapter 2: A Twist of Fate. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the streets of London, young Oliver Twist found himself swept up in the currents of fate, carried along on a tide of circumstance beyond his control. With the echo of his daring plea for more food still ringing in his ears, Oliver was thrust into a new chapter of his life, one fraught with uncertainty and peril. No sooner had the words left his lips than Oliver was whisked away from the familiarity of the workhouse and thrust into a world far removed from the only home he had ever known. Sold into servitude by the callous hands of those who saw him as nothing more than a burden to be discarded, Oliver was delivered into the care of Mr. Sowerberry, an undertaker whose grim profession matched the dreariness of his surroundings. It was within the confines of Mr. Sowerberry's funeral parlour that Oliver's new life began to take shape, though the darkness that permeated the air seemed to seep into his very bones, casting a pall over his spirit. Day in and day out, Oliver toiled alongside his fellow apprentices, their tasks ranging from the mundane to the macabre as they prepared the departed for their final journey into the great unknown. Despite the somber nature of his surroundings, Oliver approached his duties with a quiet determination, finding solace in the routine of his work and the knowledge that he was no longer beholden to the whims of the workhouse matron. Yet beneath the surface, a longing stirred within him, a yearning for something more than the monotony of his existence, a desire to break free from the chains that bound him to a life of servitude and sorrow. It was during one particularly bleak evening that Oliver's fate took an unexpected turn, as he found himself drawn into a confrontation with Noah Claypole, a fellow apprentice whose cruel taunts and mocking laughter had long been a source of torment. Fueled by a surge of righteous indignation, Oliver lashed out against his tormentor, his fists flying with a fury born of years of pent-up frustration and longing. The altercation caught the attention of Mr. Sowerberry, who, upon witnessing Oliver's display of defiance, saw fit to punish the boy for his insolence. With a heavy heart, Oliver endured the sting of Mr. Sowerberry's reprimand, his spirit unbroken despite the harshness of his treatment. And so it was that Oliver Twist, with each passing day, found himself entangled ever deeper in the web of fate, his path illuminated by the flickering light of hope that burned bright within his heart. Though the road ahead was fraught with peril and uncertainty, Oliver pressed onward, his resolve unshakable, as he braced himself for the twists and turns that lay ahead in the journey of his life. Chapter 3: A Chance Encounter. In the labyrinthine streets of Victorian London, where the air was thick with the scent of coal and the clamour of the bustling city echoed in the distance, young Oliver Twist found himself swept up in a whirlwind of chance and circumstance. It was amidst the throngs of pedestrians and the cacophony of horse-drawn carriages that Oliver's path intersected with that of a most unlikely companion, setting into motion a chain of events that would forever alter the course of his life. As Oliver emerged from the shadowy confines of Mr. Sowerberry's funeral parlour, his mind awash with thoughts of freedom and escape, he stumbled upon a scene straight out of a penny dreadful. A gang of street urchins, their faces smudged with grime and their clothes tattered and torn, darted through the crowded thoroughfare like shadows in the night, their nimble fingers deftly plucking purses and pocket watches from unsuspecting passers-by. At the head of this ragtag band of miscreants stood a boy no older than Oliver himself, his eyes alight with mischief and his grin stretching from ear to ear. This, Oliver would soon learn, was the Artful Dodger, a young pickpocket extraordinaire and a master of deception whose charm and charisma belied his criminal nature. Drawn in by the excitement of the scene unfolding before him, Oliver found himself caught up in the whirlwind of the Artful Dodger's world, his curiosity piqued by the promise of adventure and danger lurking around every corner. With a twinkle in his eye and a skip in his step, Oliver followed the Artful Dodger through the maze-like alleyways of London, his heart pounding with anticipation at the prospect of a life beyond the confines of Mr. Sowerberry's dreary establishment. It was not long before Oliver's initiation into the world of petty crime was complete, his nimble fingers mastering the art of the pickpocket under the tutelage of the Artful Dodger and his band of merry thieves. Together, they prowled the streets of London like wolves on the hunt, their fingers dancing across the pockets of unsuspecting victims as they sought to line their pockets with ill-gotten gains. But amidst the thrill of their illicit pursuits, Oliver could not shake the nagging feeling that lurked in the depths of his soul, a whisper of doubt that grew louder with each passing day. Though he reveled in the camaraderie of his newfound companions and the adrenaline rush of their exploits, Oliver could not ignore the gnawing sense of guilt that gnawed at his conscience, reminding him of the innocence he had left behind in the confines of the workhouse. And so it was that Oliver Twist, torn between the allure of the streets and the longing for a life of decency and respectability, found himself at a crossroads, his fate hanging in the balance as he grappled with the choice that lay before him. Would he continue down the path of darkness and deceit, consigning himself to a life of crime and betrayal? Or would he heed the call of his conscience and seek redemption in a world that had long since abandoned him to the whims of fate? Only time would tell, as Oliver stood poised on the precipice of destiny, his heart torn between the shadows of the past and the promise of a future yet unwritten. Chapter 4: Into the Shadows. In the heart of London's underworld, where the shadows clung to the narrow alleyways like a shroud and the whispers of the night seemed to echo with the secrets of the city, young Oliver Twist found himself ensnared in a web of deceit and danger. As he journeyed deeper into the labyrinthine streets that teemed with pickpockets and ne'er-do-wells, Oliver's innocence began to wane, replaced by a sense of unease and foreboding that gnawed at his soul. Under the watchful eye of the artful Dodger and their enigmatic leader, Fagin, Oliver was initiated into a world far removed from the drudgery of the workhouse, a world where loyalty was bought with coin and trust was a currency best spent sparingly. Amidst the flickering lamplight and the distant sound of footsteps echoing in the night, Oliver learned the art of the pickpocket, his fingers nimble and quick as they danced across the purses and pockets of unsuspecting victims. But as Oliver soon discovered, the allure of the streets was not without its dangers, and the shadows that lurked in the corners held secrets darker than he could have ever imagined. For behind the facade of camaraderie and adventure lay a sinister underbelly, where betrayal and deceit were the currency of the realm and loyalty was a rare and precious commodity. It was amidst these treacherous environs that Oliver found himself entangled in a web of lies and deception, his innocence threatened by the nefarious machinations of those who sought to exploit his newfound talents for their own gain. With each passing day, Oliver's conscience weighed heavy upon him, a silent reminder of the innocence he had left behind and the darkness that threatened to consume him whole. Yet amidst the shadows, there remained a glimmer of hope, a flickering flame that refused to be extinguished. For in the depths of Oliver's soul burned a spark of decency and integrity, a flame that refused to be snuffed out by the darkness that surrounded him. And though the road ahead was fraught with peril and uncertainty, Oliver pressed onward, his resolve unshakable as he braved the dangers that lurked around every corner. It was in the crucible of adversity that Oliver's true character was forged, his spirit tempered by the trials and tribulations that beset him at every turn. And though the shadows threatened to consume him, Oliver emerged from the darkness stronger and more resilient than ever before, his heart aflame with the hope of a brighter tomorrow. For in the end, it was not the darkness that defined Oliver Twist, but the light that burned within him, a light that shone bright even amidst the deepest shadows, guiding him ever onward on his journey of self-discovery and redemption. And as Oliver gazed into the abyss, he knew that no matter how dark the night may seem, there would always be a glimmer of hope waiting to light the way. Chapter 5: A Glimmer of Hope. As the shadows of London's underworld threatened to engulf him, Oliver Twist found himself teetering on the brink of despair, his spirit battered and weary from the trials of his tumultuous journey. Yet amidst the darkness that surrounded him, a glimmer of hope shone bright, a beacon of light that pierced the gloom and illuminated the path to redemption. It was in the most unexpected of places that Oliver found this glimmer of hope, in the form of a kind-hearted gentleman named Mr. Brownlow. Drawn to Oliver by the boy's innate goodness and unwavering spirit, Mr. Brownlow took the orphan boy under his wing, offering him a glimpse of a world beyond the shadows of the streets, a world filled with love, kindness, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Under Mr. Brownlow's care, Oliver's weary heart began to heal, his wound soothed by the gentle touch of compassion and understanding. No longer did he need to fear the harsh realities of life on the streets, for in Mr. Brownlow's home, he found sanctuary, a place where he was accepted for who he truly was, a place where he belonged. Yet even as Oliver revelled in the warmth and comfort of Mr. Brownlow's embrace, the spectre of his past loomed large, casting a shadow over his newfound happiness. For lurking in the shadows, watching and waiting with bated breath, was Fagin, the enigmatic mastermind behind Oliver's descent into the criminal underworld. Unbeknownst to Oliver, Fagin's grip on his fate remained unyielding, his presence a constant reminder of the darkness that threatened to engulf him once more. And though Oliver's heart swelled with gratitude for the kindness Mr. Brownlow had shown him, he could not shake the feeling that his past would forever haunt him, a spectre that refused to be banished from his thoughts. Yet amidst the turmoil that raged within him, Oliver clung to the glimmer of hope that burned bright in his heart, a flame that refused to be extinguished by the darkness that threatened to consume him. For in Mr. Brownlow's home, surrounded by love and acceptance, Oliver found the strength to confront his demons and forge a new path forward, one guided not by the shadows of his past, but by the light of hope that illuminated his future. And as Oliver stood at the precipice of a new beginning, his heart filled with gratitude for the kindness and compassion that had been bestowed upon him, he knew that no matter what trials lay ahead, he would face them with courage and resilience, his spirit unbroken and his resolve unwavering. For in the end, it was not the darkness that defined him, but the light that burned within, a light that would guide him ever onward on his journey of self-discovery and redemption. Chapter 6: The Shadow of the Past. As Oliver Twist basked in the warmth and safety of Mr. Brownlow's home, a shadow loomed over him, a spectre from his past that refused to be banished. Though surrounded by love and acceptance, Oliver could not shake the feeling that his newfound happiness was tenuous, threatened by the darkness that lurked just beyond the threshold. For in the depths of London's underworld, Fagin, the enigmatic mastermind behind Oliver's descent into the criminal underworld, watched and waited with bated breath. His influence stretched far and wide, his network of thieves and miscreants ever at his beck and call. And though Oliver had found refuge in Mr. Brownlow's care, Fagin's grip on his fate remained unyielding, a constant reminder of the shadows that haunted his past. Unbeknownst to Oliver, Fagin's minions lurked in the shadows, their eyes trained on their unsuspecting prey. They watched as Oliver moved through the streets of London, his steps light and his heart full of hope, unaware of the danger that lurked just beyond his line of sight. And yet, amidst the darkness that threatened to engulf him, Oliver found solace in the love and support of those who had taken him in. Mr. Brownlow, with his kind heart and gentle spirit, offered Oliver a glimpse of the life he had always longed for, a life free from the shadows of his past, a life filled with love, kindness, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. But as Oliver soon discovered, the shadows of the past were not so easily dispelled. For when Fagin's minions finally closed in on their unsuspecting prey, Oliver found himself torn between the life he had known and the future that lay before him, a future defined not by the darkness that haunted his past, but by the light that burned within his heart. And so it was that Oliver Twist, faced with the shadows of his past and the uncertainty of his future, stood at a crossroads where the choices he made would determine the course of his destiny. Would he succumb to the darkness that threatened to engulf him once more, or would he heed the call of his heart and embrace the light that guided him ever onward? Only time would tell, as Oliver braced himself for the trials and tribulations that lay ahead, his spirit unbroken and his resolve unwavering. For in the end, it was not the shadows of the past that defined him, but the light of hope that illuminated his path, a light that would guide him ever onward on his journey of self-discovery and redemption. Chapter 7: A Test of Character. In the labyrinthine streets of Victorian London, where the fog hung heavy in the air and the echoes of the city's bustling life reverberated through the cobblestone alleys, Oliver Twist found himself embroiled in a test of character, a crucible of adversity that would challenge the very essence of his being. As the spectre of his past loomed large, casting a shadow over his newfound happiness, Oliver stood at a crossroads, torn between the life he had known and the future that lay before him. For while Mr. Brownlow's care offered him refuge from the darkness that had long haunted him, the influence of Fagin and his band of miscreants remained a constant threat, a reminder of the shadows that lurked just beyond the safety of Mr. Brownlow's home. It was amidst this turmoil that Oliver's true character was put to the test, his spirit forged in the crucible of adversity as he grappled with the choices that lay before him. Would he succumb to the darkness that threatened to engulf him once more, or would he heed the call of his conscience and embrace the light that burned within his heart? The answer came swiftly, as Oliver faced down the temptations that lay in wait at every turn. Faced with the allure of the streets and the promises of wealth and power that Fagin offered, Oliver stood firm, his resolve unshakable as he resisted the siren song of his past. For in the depths of his soul, Oliver knew that true strength lay not in the shadows of the streets, but in the purity of his heart, a heart that beat with the rhythm of compassion, kindness, and the unwavering belief in the inherent goodness of mankind. And so it was that Oliver Twist, with courage and determination, emerged victorious from the crucible of adversity, his spirit unbroken and his resolve unwavering. Though the road ahead remained fraught with peril and uncertainty, Oliver faced the future with optimism and hope, his heart aflame with the promise of a brighter tomorrow. For in the end, it was not the trials and tribulations that defined Oliver Twist, but the strength of his character and the light of hope that guided him ever onward on his journey of self-discovery and redemption. And as Oliver stood at the threshold of a new beginning, he knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he would face them with courage, resilience, and the unwavering belief in the power of love, kindness, and the indomitable human spirit. Chapter 8: A New Beginning. As the sun rose over the sprawling metropolis of Victorian London, casting its golden rays across the cobblestone streets and illuminating the towering spires of the city's grand buildings, Oliver Twist stood at the threshold of a new beginning, a chapter in his life filled with promise, hope, and the boundless potential of the future. In the warm embrace of Mr. Brownlow's care, Oliver had found sanctuary, a refuge from the darkness that had long haunted him and a haven where he was accepted for who he truly was. Surrounded by love, kindness, and the unwavering support of those who had taken him in, Oliver's weary heart began to heal, his wound soothed by the gentle touch of compassion and understanding. Yet even as Oliver revelled in the warmth and safety of Mr. Brownlow's home, the spectre of his past lingered in the recesses of his mind, a constant reminder of the trials and tribulations that had brought him to this moment. For lurking in the shadows, watching and waiting with bated breath, was Fagin, the enigmatic mastermind behind Oliver's descent into the criminal underworld. But Oliver refused to be defined by the shadows of his past. With courage and determination, he faced down the temptations that lay in wait at every turn, his spirit unbroken and his resolve unwavering. For in the depths of his soul burned a spark of hope, a glimmer of light that refused to be extinguished by the darkness that threatened to engulf him once more. And so it was that Oliver stood poised on the brink of a new beginning, his heart filled with gratitude for the kindness and compassion that had been bestowed upon him. With each passing day, he embraced the opportunities that lay before him, seizing them with both hands as he embarked on a journey of self-discovery and redemption. In the company of Mr. Brownlow and his dear friends, Oliver found joy in the simple pleasures of life, a warm meal shared with loved ones, a stroll through the bustling streets of London, and the laughter of companionship that echoed through the halls of their home. Together, they forged a bond that transcended the boundaries of family, their hearts knit together by the ties of love and friendship. And as Oliver gazed out upon the horizon, his eyes alight with the promise of a brighter tomorrow, he knew that no matter what trials lay ahead, he would face them with courage, resilience, and the unwavering belief in the power of love, kindness, and the indomitable human spirit. For in the end, it was not the darkness that defined Oliver Twist, but the light that burned within, a light that guided him ever onward on his journey of self-discovery and redemption, illuminating the path to a new beginning filled with hope, promise, and the boundless potential of the future. Chapter 9: Love and Friendship. In the heart of Victorian London, amidst the hustle and bustle of the crowded streets and the clamour of everyday life, Oliver Twist found himself surrounded by a tapestry of love and friendship that would forever shape the course of his destiny. For in the warm embrace of Mr. Brownlow's care and the company of his dear friends, Oliver discovered the true meaning of companionship, loyalty, and the boundless power of love. It was amidst the laughter and camaraderie of his newfound family that Oliver found solace from the shadows that had long haunted him. With each passing day, he revelled in the simple pleasures of life, a warm meal shared with loved ones, a stroll through the bustling streets of London, and the joyous laughter that echoed through the halls of their home. But amidst the warmth and comfort of Mr. Brownlow's care, a new emotion began to stir within Oliver's heart, a feeling so pure and profound that it took his breath away. For in the gentle spirit of a young girl named Rose Maylai, Oliver found the kindred soul he had longed for, a companion whose kindness, compassion, and unwavering support filled his heart with an indescribable joy. As Oliver's bond with Rose deepened, so too did his understanding of the power of love, a force that transcended the boundaries of time and space, weaving its way through the fabric of their lives and binding them together in an unbreakable bond. With each passing day, Oliver found himself drawn to Rose's side, his heart swelling with a love so pure and true that it seemed to light up the darkest corners of his soul. Yet amidst the blossoming of their love, challenges lay ahead, testing the strength of their bond and the depth of their commitment to one another. From family secrets to societal prejudice, Oliver and Rose faced obstacles at every turn, their love standing strong in the face of adversity as they clung to the hope of a brighter future together. And as they navigated the twists and turns of their shared journey, Oliver and Rose discovered that love was not always easy, that it required patience, understanding, and unwavering faith in one another. But through it all, they remained steadfast in their devotion, their love serving as a beacon of hope that guided them through even the darkest of times. For in the end, it was love and friendship that sustained Oliver Twist and his dear friends, lighting the way through the trials and tribulations of life and illuminating the path to a future filled with promise, hope, and the boundless potential of the human heart. And as they stood together, hand in hand, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, they knew that with love and friendship by their side, they could overcome anything that stood in their way. Chapter 10: Trials and Tribulations. In the tapestry of life, woven with threads of joy and sorrow, triumph and adversity, Chapter 10 of Oliver Twist unfolds with a symphony of trials and tribulations that test the resilience of the human spirit and the depth of the bonds that bind us together. As Oliver Twist and his beloved Rose Maylai navigate the labyrinthine pathways of Victorian London, they find themselves confronted with challenges that threaten to shake the very foundation of their love and friendship. From family secrets to societal prejudice, Oliver and Rose face obstacles at every turn, their love standing strong in the face of adversity as they cling to the hope of a brighter future together. But the road ahead is fraught with peril, and the trials they must endure are as numerous as they are daunting. As they confront the demons of their pasts, Oliver and Rose find themselves embroiled in a web of deceit and betrayal that threatens to tear them apart. Family secrets come to light, casting shadows over their once idyllic existence and forcing them to confront the ghosts that haunt their pasts. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope remains, as Oliver and Rose draw strength from the love that binds them together. With courage and determination, they face each new challenge head-on, refusing to be daunted by the obstacles that stand in their way. Yet the trials they face are not limited to their own personal struggles. As they bear witness to the injustices and inequalities that plague Victorian society, Oliver and Rose find themselves called upon to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves, to be voices for the voiceless and champions for the oppressed. And though the road ahead may be long and fraught with danger, Oliver and Rose press onward, their hearts filled with the knowledge that their love and friendship will see them through even the darkest of times. For in the end, it is not the trials and tribulations themselves that define us, but the strength, courage, and resilience with which we face them. And as Oliver and Rose stand side by side, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead, they do so with the unwavering belief that with love and friendship by their side, they can overcome anything that stands in their way. For in the end, it is love and friendship that sustain us through the trials and tribulations of life, lighting the way through even the darkest of nights and guiding us toward the dawn of a new day. Chapter 11: The Power of Forgiveness. In the labyrinthine streets of Victorian London, where the echoes of the city's bustling life reverberated through the cobblestone alleys and the fog hung heavy in the air, Oliver Twist and his beloved Rose Maylai found themselves confronted with the transformative power of forgiveness, a force so profound that it had the capacity to heal even the deepest wounds of the human heart. As the trials and tribulations of their journey unfolded, Oliver and Rose found themselves faced with the ghosts of their pasts, skeletons hidden in the darkest corners of their memories, waiting to be unearthed. Family secrets and long-buried grievances threatened to tear them apart, their love and friendship tested to the breaking point by the weight of their burdens. But amidst the turmoil, a glimmer of hope remained, a beacon of light that shone bright even in the darkest of times. For Oliver and Rose, the power of forgiveness offered a pathway to redemption, a chance to lay down the burdens of the past and embrace the promise of a future filled with love, compassion, and understanding. It was in the quiet moments of reflection that Oliver and Rose found solace, their hearts open to the possibility of healing and reconciliation. With each passing day, they sought to understand the pain and suffering that had shaped their lives, to confront the demons of their pasts and make peace with the ghosts that haunted their memories. And as they journeyed deeper into the recesses of their souls, Oliver and Rose discovered the true depth of forgiveness, a gift bestowed not only upon those who had wronged them, but upon themselves as well. For in forgiving others, they found freedom from the chains of resentment and anger, their hearts unburdened by the weight of past transgressions. But the power of forgiveness extended far beyond their own personal struggles. As they bore witness to the injustices and inequalities that plagued Victorian society, Oliver and Rose realized that forgiveness was not merely an act of individual redemption, but a force for societal change, a catalyst for healing the wounds of the past and building a future rooted in compassion and understanding. And so it was that Oliver and Rose embraced the power of forgiveness with open hearts and open minds, their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that love and friendship would see them through even the darkest of times. For in the end, it was forgiveness that transformed their lives, illuminating the path to a future filled with hope, promise, and the boundless potential of the human heart. Chapter 12: Happily Ever After. In the final chapter of Oliver Twist, the tapestry of the young orphan boy's life is woven together with threads of hope, redemption, and the enduring power of love. Against the backdrop of Victorian London, Oliver's journey comes full circle, culminating in a crescendo of joy and triumph as he embraces his destiny and finds his place in the world. As the sun sets over the sprawling metropolis, casting its golden glow across the cobblestone streets and illuminating the towering spires of the city's grand buildings, Oliver Twist stands on the threshold of a new beginning, a future filled with promise, hope, and the boundless potential of the human spirit. With the love and support of his beloved Rose Maylie and their dear friends, Oliver has weathered the storms of adversity and emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. Together, they have confronted the demons of their pasts, embraced the power of forgiveness, and forged bonds that will last a lifetime. And as they stand together, hand in hand, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead, they do so with the unwavering belief that with love and friendship by their side, they can overcome anything that stands in their way. For in the end, it is not the trials and tribulations themselves that define us, but the strength, courage, and resilience with which we face them. As Oliver and Rose embark on the next chapter of their journey, they do so with hearts full of gratitude for the blessings that have been bestowed upon them. They know that life will always be filled with challenges and obstacles, but they also know that as long as they have each other, they can weather any storm. And so, as the final pages of Oliver Twist are turned and the story draws to a close, we are left with the image of a young orphan boy who has found his place in the world, a boy who has overcome adversity, embraced the power of love and friendship, and discovered that no matter how dark the night may seem, there is always a glimmer of hope waiting to light the way. For Oliver Twist, the journey may have been long and arduous, but in the end, he finds his happily ever after, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of love. And as we bid farewell to Oliver and his companions, we are reminded that no matter where life may take us, as long as we hold fast to the bonds of love and friendship, we can find our own happily ever after, too.